else. I worked with, young upstart Mitch Hurwitz, who would go on to create Arrested Development. And my friend Jim Valley, huge part of that show. So Mark Cherry would go on to create Desperate Housewives. And so it's cool to have worked with some cool people. That's probably my favorite thing about the business.
I think they sit around talking about how cool it was to work with you.
I remember guest stars on Golden Girls sometimes. I had to give notes on Friday nights between shows, basically correcting the Golden Girls acting choices. And I was usually fine, but we'd be in the booth for a show and Tony Thomas with his cigar would say, yeah, tell B she's over the top or something. And I was like, oh God. And people look at me and saying, you got to give her the note because it's Tony,
Right.
He never quite said that.
Was B difficult? Because Betty White said B didn't like her.
They kept that as private as possible, but we all knew.
You mean the two ladies did? The two ladies kept
it there was an episode where B, in front of the audience, B went up on a line, and B never does that. Estelle did, Betty occasionally, sometimes a lot on a long speech, Rue occasionally. B didn't like doing it. She'd get mad at herself. And she said it again and went up on the line again. And so we're doing a third take, I think again. And the audience is kind of giggling at this point, frustrating B, obviously on purpose. And we know she's feeling that. And Betty turns to the audience, goes, well, isn't this going nicely?
Wow.
And we see, as the audience is laughing warmly at Betty and her wonderful smile, we see B storm over to Betty and go, come here, and they disappear off stage. So we have this PA at the time, Andy, still good friends, Andy Stone, and Andy's about 6'4". So we say to, and he's stage PA, so all the women love him.
Mm-hmm.
So we say to Andy, go down and find out what's going on. He goes down and he's the most happy-go-lucky PA you've ever met. He runs back up to the booth, slams the door, and his eyes are wide. And B was just cussing Betty out and basically saying, don't you ever stand me up again, you insert whatever. And that's where that night left. But it had terrified this 6'4" PA. And then we went back and B nailed the line and we went on to a great taping.
End of story.
But I do remember that night out of 4 years.
I bet.
Yeah.
Betty White actually did quite a bit on the civil rights front. She seemed like tougher than most people would on the surface interpret her to be, so I don't know how she reacted to B Arthur, doing her B Arthur-ness, maybe B Arthur was still pissed about appearing in the Star Wars holiday special. I don't know, but
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Tracy.
No, I wondered that. And someone once explained it to me, and it was, B was accustomed, she'd worked on Broadway. She'd worked for Norman Lear, All in the Family, then Maude.
Right.
And she was very much internal and introverted, and like on Broadway, she was about the work. She wasn't, Betty had spent her entire career relating to live audiences, being part of multi-camera, live audience shoots.
Right.
She would host Christmas parades and everything. so she was about relating to audiences more. Although B won Tonys, and if you've ever seen a woman with a look play to the back row, it was B. Arthur. She's so it just was an introvert and an extrovert.
Yeah.
And
sum it up.
4 years together, they clash.
Yeah. Sum it up, buddy. The Tracy Gamble experience is what when you think about it now?
An agent once says, so most careers are up and down. And I didn't want to accept that they'd ever go down. But yeah, they're up and down. And now with perspective, I can be grateful that I got to work on such a show as the Golden Girls. And they had a very good guild to take care of me.
Yes. Yeah. Props to the guild and what it does. And props to you, man, for the magic you've given us episode in and episode out. So many great. Tracy, we miss you.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.